American growers in their 50s and 60s watched July water bills climb past $400 again, while the wrong plants died anyway in poor soil. Not because they did anything wrong, because nobody showed them which perennials survive drought with zero extra water. These 16 natives cut that bill permanently in one season. Before plant number 1, drop your state right now, because your USDA zone completely changes which of these performs best for you. Find yours and pay attention. And the one at number 12 divided every spring without anyone knowing why. For 3 generations, do not skip this. Plant number 1, Globe Mallow. This $15 perennial blooms coral orange for 9 straight months, while your neighbor spends $200 every spring replacing annuals that could not survive one dry week. Picture hundreds of coral orange cups opening wide across bare, rocky ground in the worst July desert heat, with no hose, no drip line, and no sprinkler anywhere within reach. Zones 5 through 11. Full sun, lean, rocky, dry soil. University of Arizona Extension confirms this bloom season beats every perennial on this list, March through November. Each coral cup opens at dawn and closes by afternoon heat, cycling new blooms for weeks with zero supplemental water. A $20 plant needs zero irrigation after establishment, saving $50 in water costs every single season. The single mistake most growers make is planting it in clay or amended soil instead of lean, fast-draining ground. That single mistake causes root rot in one season, the full $20 and every water bill. Saving vanish. Skip the clay, choose lean soil, and this plant rewards you with 9 months of coral color and 0 water bills for good. But the next perennial on this list does something no eye ever expects. It smells like dessert. Drop your state below, because your zone changes everything coming next. And somewhere in this video is the story of a grower in Colorado who watched her water bill hit $380 in one July. That story is coming. Keep watching. Plant number 2, Chocolate Flower. This $18 perennial fills your entire backyard with the smell of dark chocolate every single morning, and most American growers have never even heard its name. Picture golden daisy blooms opening at sunrise, releasing a warm cocoa scent across dry, rocky soil that no candle or air freshener could ever match for free. Zones 4 through 9. Full sun, lean, dry soil. Denver Botanic Gardens confirms that cocoa scent intensifies specifically in morning heat. Unlike any other plant on this list, this $18 plant seeds reliably, expanding into a permanent colony across poor soil without ever being replanted. That colony growth replaces $60 in nursery purchases most growers spend refilling bare garden patches every spring. The single mistake is deadheading spent blooms too early before seeds fully mature and drop to the ground. That mistake stops naturalization completely, forcing growers back into yearly replanting costs forever. Let the seed pods drop undisturbed, and this hummingbird magnet renews itself in your yard permanently, generation after generation. But the next perennial on this list runs its own pollinator hotel, drawing 12 separate butterfly species into soil every other plant has already given up on. What plant in your yard has defeated everything you have tried? Plant number 3, Poppy Mallow. This $20 perennial grows a turnip-like taproot underground that Native Americans once relied on as an actual survival food source. Picture magenta cups spreading low and wide across bare rocky ground, expanding 3 full feet in a single season, while storing water underground like a root vegetable. USDA Plants database documents this taproot storing water like a true root vegetable, giving it drought survival few perennials on this list can match. This $20 plant spreads 3 feet per season, forming a living mulch that suppresses weeds without any bark or gravel purchased. That weed suppression alone replaces $30 in mulch most growers rebuy every single spring. The single mistake is transplanting after the first year. Once the taproot has fully anchored into the ground, That mistake snaps the taproot instantly, and the entire plant dies within days. Choose the spot once, leave the taproot undisturbed, and it spreads permanently across bare ground without ever being moved again. But the next perennial here is the one hummingbirds across the entire Southwest fight over, growing in the driest, most neglected corner of your yard. Did you believe drought perennials could never draw real wildlife? Be honest below. Plant number 4. Standing cypress. This $16 perennial is rated the #1 hummingbird magnet across the entire Southwest, and it thrives in the exact corner of your yard you gave up on years ago. Picture tall, red tubular spikes rising 4 feet from cracked, neglected soil, drawing hummingbirds from blocks away, while every watered flower bed nearby sits empty. Zones 5 through 9. Full sun, lean, dry soil, cinder, and into. USDA Plants Database confirms this hummingbird magnet blooms red tubular flowers from June straight through September, longer than most Southwest natives. This $16 plant is biennial, meaning it self-seeds and returns as a permanent colony once fully established in your yard. That permanent return replaces $60 in hummingbird feeder refills most growers buy every single season. The single mistake is treating it like a regular perennial and pulling it after the first bloom cycle ends. That mistake removes the seed source entirely, and the colony never returns again. Let it sucker freely, and this shrub stabilizes your worst slope permanently while building richer soil underneath year after year without a single dollar of fertilizer or erosion control ever purchased again. But the next perennial on this list changes color as the season moves, turning rust red right before your eyes without you ever touching it once. Plant number 5, Blackfoot Daisy. This $16 perennial runs a honey-scented pollinator hotel that draws 12 separate butterfly species into soil every other plant has already abandoned. Picture a dense white mound blooming continuously from March through November, filling the driest, most neglected bed with fragrance while nearby watered flowers wilt by noon. Zones 5 through 9. Full sun, lean, dry soil. Colorado State University Extension confirms this honey scent draws 12 butterfly species, more than any other plant on this entire list. This $16 plant blooms nearly continuously from March through November in zones 7 through 9, an extreme seasonal value few natives match. That extended bloom season replaces $40 in seasonal annual color most growers repurchase every few weeks. The single mistake is overwatering, which this daisy cannot tolerate under any circumstance. That mistake kills it within days, even in perfectly matched soil and zone conditions. Skip the hose entirely, and this daisy rewards you with 12 butterfly species and 9 full months of continuous bloom every single year, without $1 spent. But the next perennial on this list actually improves the poor soil it grows in, while your neighbors keep amending, watering, and losing money on ground that never gets any better. Plant number 6, Apache Plume. This $20 shrub perennial actually fixes nitrogen into the poor soil it grows in, while your neighbors keep amending and watering ground that never improves. Picture feathery pink seed plumes glowing on a bare, dry slope from August straight through winter, building better soil underneath with zero fertilizer ever purchased. Zones 4 through 9. Full sun, lean, dry soil, saws. Watt and Nasser D. USDA NRCs confirms this shrub fixes nitrogen directly into poor soil, actively improving ground condition while surviving total drought neglect. This $20 plant naturally suckers across dry slopes, filling bare erosion-prone areas without a single dollar spent on erosion control. That natural spread replaces $80 in slope stabilization materials most growers install on problem ground. The single mistake is pruning back natural suckering habit instead of letting it fill the slope. That mistake forces growers back into manual erosion management every single season. Give it full sun, and this plant rewards you with its heaviest bloom exactly when the rest of your garden is already struggling the most in July heat. But the next perennial on this list is quietly worth more dried, than it ever was planted, replacing something most growers still buy in a bottle. Have you ever grown a perennial that doubled as medicine? Plant number 7, sulfur buckwheat. This $18 perennial actually changes color as the entire season moves, turning from bright sulfur yellow to deep rust red without you ever touching it once. Picture one single plant putting on 3 separate color displays across a full calendar year, delivering 4-season interest that most flowering perennials cannot match in an entire lifetime. Zones 3 through 8, full sun, lean, dry soya. Colorado State University trial confirms this color. Changing display holds 4-season interest longer than any other plant on this list. This $18 plant needs 0 fertilizer and 0 irrigation once rooted, saving $40 in seasonal soil amendments most growers repurchase yearly. The single mistake is planting it in rich soil or watering it like a typical garden perennial. That mistake causes immediate decline, and the plant weakens within a single growing season regardless of zone. Good conditions are the actual enemy here, not neglect. Leave it neglected, and this plant rewards you with 3 full seasons of color for less effort than any other perennial on this entire list. This channel exists for growers who have made expensive mistakes they were never warned about. If you are in your 50s or 60s, subscribe right now for zone-aware, dollar-grounded content every single week. Earlier at the start of this video, I mentioned a grower in Colorado. This is that story. She was 62, in Zone 6, watching her water bill hit $380 one July, while traditional perennials still died in her rocky, unforgiving soil, until Colorado State University Extension research pointed her toward 5 plants from this very list. By the very next July, her water bill dropped from $380 all the way down to $180, and her rocky soil was never amended, not even once, in Zone 6, Colorado. If you're still watching this far into the video, this next plant is exactly why I made this video in the first place. Not for the algorithm, for the grower who actually stayed. Plant number 8, desert marigold. This $16 perennial grows silver-white woolly leaves that reflect heat like a natural solar panel, working in complete reverse against the harshest desert sun imaginable in any American climate. Picture golden blooms glowing almost year-round above that same silver foliage, thriving through desert heat that kills most flowering perennials within a single week. Zones 5 through 10, full sun, lean, dry soil. University of Arizona Extension confirms this silvery foliage reflects heat directly, letting the plant thrive where most perennials scorch and die. This $16 plant blooms nearly year-round in zones 7 through 10 with 0 fertilizer and 0 irrigation after establishment. That 0 input performance replaces $50 in seasonal bedding plants most growers repurchase every few months. The single mistake is planting it in clay soil instead of gravel or sandy, fast-draining conditions. That mistake causes root rot within weeks, regardless of how perfect the zone match is. Choose gravel over clay, and this plant rewards you with color almost every single month of the year for 0 ongoing cost whatsoever. But the next perennial on this list does something no other drought plant can. It blooms more intensely the drier and hotter conditions actually get. What plant in your yard has defeated everything you have tried? Tell me below. Plant number 9, prairie verbena. This $14 perennial does something no other drought plant on this list can do. It blooms more intensely the drier and hotter conditions actually get. Picture a low purple carpet spreading wider under blazing July sun, producing its heaviest bloom exactly when every watered flower bed nearby has already given up. Zones 5 through 9, full sun, lean, dry soya, cinder, and into. USDA Plants Database documents this counterintuitive performer blooming heaviest precisely under heat and drought stress. Unlike nearly every other flowering perennial, This $14 plant spreads via runners, filling dry problem areas permanently without a single additional purchase. That permanent spread replaces $35 in ground cover plants most growers rebuy every season for bare patches. The single mistake is planting it in shade instead of full sun exposure. That mistake blocks bloom entirely since 8 hours of direct sun is the minimum this plant requires. Give it full sun, and this plant rewards you with its heaviest bloom exactly when the rest of your garden is already struggling the most in July heat. But the next perennial on this list is quietly worth more dried than it ever was planted, replacing something most growers still buy in a bottle. Have you ever grown a perennial that doubled as medicine? Plant number 10, skullcap. This $16 perennial is quietly worth more dried than it ever was planted. With documented medicinal use for anxiety and sleep-replacing bottles, most growers still buy monthly. Picture blue, purple spikes thriving in bone, dry soil, while the dried herb itself sells for $15 to $25 an ounce at health stores. Zones 4 through 8, full sun, lean, dry soil. University of Maryland Extension documents traditional use of this herb for supporting calm and restful sleep, never framed as a guaranteed cure. This $16 plant produces dried herb valued at $15 to $25 an ounce at health stores, replacing supplement purchases most growers make monthly. That dual value gives it both ornamental and medicinal purpose in a single planting. The single mistake is leaving it in wet winter soil, which this plant cannot tolerate at all. That mistake rots the crown completely, killing the plant before spring regrowth ever begins. Keep the crown dry through winter, and this plant rewards you with dual value that most perennials on this entire list cannot match at all. But now comes the fastest establishing plant on this entire list. Visible bloom in just 6 weeks from planting, even in the worst soil you currently have. Did you believe drought perennials always took years to establish? Be honest. Plant number 11, Plains Coreopsis. This $14 perennial blooms in just 6 weeks from seed, making it the single fastest establishing drought perennial on this entire list by a wide margin. Picture bare dry soil transforming into a sea of yellow-red blooms within a single month, covering ground that sat empty and neglected for years. Before this, zones 4 through 9, full sun, lean dry soil. USDA Plants database confirms this 6-week bloom speed outpaces every other perennial documented on this entire list. This $14 plant seeds prolifically, covering large dry areas permanently after just one full growing season. That prolific coverage replaces $45 in bedding plants most growers repurchase yearly for bare, neglected ground. The single mistake is expecting it to stay neat and contained like a typical garden perennial. That mistake fights its nature completely, since it naturalizes freely and fills gaps entirely on its own terms. Let it spread on its own terms, and bare ground fills with color permanently after just one full season, no replanting ever required again. But the next perennial on this list drives a taproot 15 feet straight down into prairie soil, the deepest and most drought-proof root system on this entire list. Have you ever grown a perennial with roots that deep? Drop it below. Plant number 12, Gay Feather. This is the plant with the single deepest taproot on this entire list, driving a full 15 feet straight down into prairie soil once it becomes fully established in your yard. Picture purple spikes rising above ground while, completely unseen below, that root reaches deeper than any backyard measuring tool could ever reach or verify. Zones 3 through 9, full sun, lean, dry soil. USDA NRCS documents this 15-foot taproot as the most drought-proof root system confirmed on this entire list. This $16 plant also serves as a specialist host for monarch butterflies and native bees, adding real ecological value. That dual function replaces habitat plantings many growers spend $40 trying to recreate separately. The single mistake is moving it after establishment. Once that 15-foot taproot has fully anchored underground, that mistake snaps the root instantly, so choosing its final location permanently matters from day one. Choose its spot once, and this taproot anchors permanently while feeding monarch butterflies every single season without fail or interruption. But the next perennial on this list stays evergreen and blooms gold for 10 full months out of the year. Expert selected by an actual botanic garden curator. Did you believe evergreen bloom was impossible in drought zones? Plant number 13. Four-nerve daisy. This $16 perennial was selected by expert curators at Denver Botanic Gardens, staying evergreen and blooming gold for 10 months out of the year. Picture bright gold flowers appearing in nearly every season, holding foliage year-round while most perennials on this list go completely dormant in winter. Zones 3 through 9, full sun, lean, dry soil. Denver Botanic Gardens confirms this 10-month bloom cycle through their official Plant Select Curator Trial Program, a rare expert, verified endorsement. This $16 plant stays compact and evergreen, replacing $30 in seasonal replanting. Most growers do twice a year. That expert curation guarantees performance most nursery guesswork simply cannot match at this price point. The single mistake is applying any supplemental fertilizer, treating it like a typical garden flower. That mistake makes it grow weak and floppy, collapsing in soil that was actually enriched to help it. Skip the fertilizer entirely, and this expert-curated daisy stays compact and blooming nearly year-round without any help at all. But the next perennial on this list eliminates a cost most gardeners never even think to calculate, and it feeds 40 separate bird species while doing it. What plant in your yard has defeated everything you have tried? Tell me below. Plant number 14, plain sunflower. This $14 perennial eliminates a cost most gardeners never even think to calculate, feeding over 40 separate wild bird species straight through the coldest winter months of the year. Picture golden blooms turning into seed heads that birds visit daily, replacing an entire winter of purchased bird seed with zero extra effort required. Zones 4 through 9, full sun, lean, dry soil, saws. What and I. USDA Plants Database documents this plant's seed heads feeding over 40 bird species through the harshest winter months on record. This $14 plant replaces $30 to $50 in seasonal bird seed. Most growers purchase every winter without fail. That winter feeding value alone often exceeds the original purchase price of the plant itself. The single mistake is deadheading the spent blooms in autumn, like a typical tidy garden habit. That mistake removes the primary winter value entirely, since the seed heads are the actual point. Leave the seed head standing through winter, and wild birds handle the rest for free every single cold season without fail. But the next perennial on this list replaces something most growers keep refilling all summer long, an actual hummingbird feeder costing $60 a season. Have you ever grown a perennial that replaced store-bought bird supplies? Drop it below. Plant number 15, Rocky Mountain Penstemon. This $16 perennial replaces an actual hummingbird feeder, saving $60 a season. Most growers spend refilling nectar all summer. Picture red-purple spikes rising straight from bare rocky soil at high elevation, drawing hummingbirds and native bees where almost nothing else survives the cold at all. Zones 4 through 8, full sun, lean, rocky soil. Colorado State University Extension confirms this plant serves as a specialist for both hummingbirds and native bees in cold Rocky Mountain zones. This $16 plant is hardy to Zone 4, thriving in poor rocky soil where most flowering perennials fail immediately. That hardiness replaces $60 a season in feeder nectar, and refill costs most growers pay every summer. The single mistake is planting it in clay or consistently wet soil, which it cannot tolerate. That mistake rots the crown quickly, regardless of how cold, hardy the zone match actually is. Keep it out of clay, and this plant replaces a hummingbird feeder permanently while surviving cold that kills most flowering perennials outright. But the final perennial on this entire list is a certified monarch butterfly way station plant, small enough for your front border, yet vital to an entire migration corridor. Drop your state below so I know where this list reaches. Plant number 16, Dwarf blazing star. This $14 perennial is a certified monarch butterfly way station plant, supporting the entire migration corridor from a footprint of just 4 inches tall. Picture a compact purple spike thriving right at the very front of your border, small enough for any bed while still feeding monarchs across their entire journey south. Zones 3 through 8, full sun, lean, dry soya. USDA Plants Database confirms this is the smallest liatris species documented, making it the ideal monarch way station plant for compact front borders. This $14 plant fits where taller drought perennials cannot, without sacrificing any of the ecological value. That way station certification replaces habitat plantings. Many growers spend $40 trying to recreate elsewhere. The single mistake is planting it in rich soil, expecting bigger growth like a typical border flower. That mistake makes it grow tall and floppy, thriving only in the leanest, poorest conditions available. Keep the soil lean, and this final perennial stays compact while feeding an entire monarch migration every single growing season without fail. That is not gardening. That is investing in ground most growers already gave up on completely. And we have not even reached the 3 biggest secrets on this entire list yet. Starting right now, 3 things about drought-proof perennials that almost no source puts in one place, gathered from 50 years of watching growers succeed and fail. Secret 1. Water deeply only during weeks 1 through 6 after planting. Then stop completely, and every plant on this list saves you $50 a season in irrigation for good. Secret 2. A simple soil squeeze test before planting tells you instantly if your ground is lean enough, saving $20 in wasted amendment purchases with 0 lab kit ever required. Secret 3. Planting depth matters more than zone selection, and setting the crown even 1 single inch too deep kills most drought perennials in their very first winter, even in a perfect zone match. Across all 16 plants and under $220 total investment, this drought-proof garden pays back every dollar spent within the very first season, then keeps paying every single year after that permanently, with 0 irrigation cost ever again. Here's exactly where to begin, based on your zone. Right now, zone to plants to dollar in zones 3 through 5. Your cold hardy combination is sulfur buckwheat, gay feather, dwarf blazing star, 4 nerve daisy, and poppy mallow. 5 plants confirmed, hardy through the harshest winters at under $90 total cost for all 5 plants combined together. That combination replaces roughly $200 a season. Most cold zone growers still spend fighting plants never suited to survive at all. In zones 6 through 9, your 0 irrigation combination is globe mallow, chocolate flower, desert marigold, blackfoot daisy, and standing cypress. 5 warm zone natives needing 0 water at all once fully established at under $90 total cost for all 5 plants together starting this week. Restrictions are tightening across 40 states this very July, and if you miss this window now, your first real result waits a full year. You just discovered 16 perennials that slash your water bill by $275 to $500 every summer, while thriving in soil everyone else has already given up on completely. If this changes how you see your garden, hit like right now so other drought zone growers can find this exact video. Comment which state you garden in and how bad your water bill actually gets every single July. Then subscribe to Plant ER Lab, because serious growers stop fighting drought and finally start planting for it instead of against it every season. 50 years of real plant knowledge, delivered every single week, for the grower who actually wants to know